Welcome to the Cyber Savvy Human. My name's Gareth Thomas, and today we are talking about data. What's the most valuable thing that your organization owns? Is it gold? Is it jewelry? Is it cash? That might sound like a pirate's treasure cave, but the boring and most unexciting answer, but the true one, is data. Here are some credentials that we found on the dark web. The dark web is the area of the internet that's anonymized, and that makes it an absolute haven for criminals who like to trade details, like to trade information, and they like to trade all sorts of illegal things. Driver's license details for £15, credit card details for £5, national insurance numbers for just £1. Here's some O2 credentials that were stolen from O2. They were traded on the web, and in fact you can get 7 for the price of 5, which is an absolute bargain. But can you imagine the damage that would happen if your clients' or customers' details were leaked from your organization and made available on the dark web? When we're handling information, it's a great idea to start by classifying the information you've got. Classifying simply means deciding how sensitive that data really is. You can choose your own headers, but here are some suggested ones: public, limited, confidential, and highly confidential. Let's have a look at some examples. Say we were working with a new partner. Well, that's something we might want to tell the public about. That's good news. That's public data. Say we were working with a new supplier on a huge fundraiser. Well, it's not going to start for 6 months. We don't want to tell the public about that yet, but we would tell our colleagues. The contract with the supplier might contain costs and timings, and that's not something we want everybody to know, so we would keep that confidential on a need-to-know basis. And if the details in that contract contained exactly how the marketing was going to work, well, if that leaked, it could seriously undermine the campaign and damage our organization, so we'd keep that highly confidential. Another example. Good old Mike is fundraising for us. Fantastic. That's something that we can check with Mike and then put it on our social media and on our website, tell everybody that Mike is doing a cracking job, see if he could inspire others. Public information. But Mike's in our accounts team. Now, if we made that public, it might make him a target for cyber criminals who want to get access to our accounting systems, so we'd keep that just to ourselves and our colleagues. Mike's full name, address, date of birth is needed for booking travel, but that's not something we want everybody in the company to know, so we'd keep that confidential. And finally, Mike's medical history. He had mental health problems, which is what's really driven him to do this fundraising for us, but that could be damaging to Mike, and it's not something he wants everybody to know, so we'd keep that highly confidential. Now that we've classified it, we need to decide what we're going to do with this information. We need to think about how we're going to handle the information, and in particular, whether we need to think about who can get access to it or whether we need to encrypt it. Encryption simply means using a tool to scramble the data so that it's no longer readable. Only those with the key can unscramble it and read the data again. And that means that if the data did get stolen or lost, then it would be impossible to read it. Now, there are lots of ways to do this, and you should consult your IT support. But as a bare minimum, it's useful to know that Microsoft Office has a feature where you can add a password when saving the document, and that will do some encryption on the file. Again, consult your IT teams about encryption, as there are many options. There's normally no need to encrypt public information because, well, it's not a secret. You know that the public will see it. And normally you wouldn't encrypt internal or limited data, but where you're sending confidential data outside of your organization, you should encrypt it. And normally you would encrypt all highly confidential information. So how do we avoid losing data, and particularly losing data through our human beings? A really easy way to lose data is on removable media. A lot of organizations will ban the use of this kind of media. Others will force encryption when we're using it. If it's portable, then it can be lost or stolen. So the advice is try not to use it at all. If you have to use it, then make sure that it's encrypted and that you know where it is. It's really easy to make mistakes when you're sending emails. Here someone's mistyped Lloyds Foundation to Lloyds Foundation. The information in that email could end up with the wrong person. So ask your team, ask your staff to take extra care when sending sensitive information outside of your organization. There's a common fraud where people pretend to be one of your suppliers. They will say, oh, you need to pay an invoice, I'm your supplier, here's some new bank details. They'll ask for data that they're not entitled to. If you do get a call or an email from a supplier, then try and validate that it's genuinely them and ask yourself, why are they asking for this information? Is it my normal contact? Should I be paying them or giving them information? It's not a good idea at all for staff to send information to their home email address. Home email addresses are often shared. They're not as secure as work ones, so you should not be allowing your staff to send stuff to their home email address. More information is at hand. The NCSC has got some excellent information for small and medium-sized organisations. There's lots of things around technical controls and human controls, and it's a great place to go for more information, so take a look there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.